You know that feeling when you snag a $200 starter drone, get a few shaky clips, and then realize you've spent more time fixing crashes than actually filming. The disappointment is real, and it's why many people hesitate before dropping cash on the next big thing. I've been there, scrolling through endless specs, watching unboxing videos, and wondering if the hype is worth the risk. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. So let's talk about the DJI Mavic 4 Pro and see whether it actually feels like a smarter buy or just another pricey gadget that ends up gathering dust. First off, the Mavic 4 Pro sits in a sweet spot that most consumer drones only dream of reaching. It's not a toy you toss around the backyard, it's a compact professional camera platform that promises 6K 60 FPS HDR video and a 100-megapixel still photo capability. That alone flips the script on the cheap drone narrative because you're no longer compromising image quality for portability. But the real question is how those numbers translate when you're out in the field, dealing with wind, battery anxiety, and the need to get a shot quickly. I started by looking at the everyday workflow of a travel vlogger who needs to pack light, but still deliver cinematic footage. The included backpack and landing pad make the whole system feel like a purpose-built kit rather than a loose collection of parts. You can pull the drone, its remote, a spare battery, and a 128GB microSD card out of the bag, and you're ready to go in under a minute. That speed matters when you're hopping between locations in a city, trying to catch sunrise over a rooftop, or a quick nighttime cityscape. The Omnidirectional obstacle avoidance gives you confidence to fly close to structures without constantly watching the screen for hidden poles. In practice, I found it actually prevents the dreaded crash into a fence scenario that kills cheaper drones on the first outing. Battery life is another headline claim, up to 51 minutes of flight time. In real terms, that's more than an hour of smooth, stable hovering and tracking, which is a huge upgrade from the 30-minute ceiling most competitors hit. For a real estate photographer, that extra time means you can sweep an entire property in a single flight, capturing every balcony and roofline without swapping batteries mid-job. The trade-off is a slightly heavier battery pack, which nudges the overall weight up. If you're a strict ultralight enthusiast, you'll notice the drone feels a bit more substantial in the palm, but the endurance gain usually outweighs that inconvenience. ActiveTrack 360 is a feature that sounds impressive on paper, but the proof is in how it behaves when you're moving the subject across a crowded market or a forest trail. The Mavic 4 Pro locks onto a person, car, or animal and keeps them framed from every angle, automatically rotating the gimbal as the target walks around obstacles. In my tests, the system held a jogger in the center of the frame even when trees briefly blocked the line of sight, and it reacquired the subject smoothly. That kind of reliability cuts down on post-production work because you're not constantly reframing in editing. However, the tracking algorithm can still get confused by multiple moving subjects at the same distance, so you'll want to plan your shots with a clear primary focus. Night flight is a newer selling point. The 6 low-light fisheye sensors claim to boost performance in dim conditions, and I tried it on a rooftop after sunset. The footage retained decent detail without the heavy grain you'd expect from a cheap drone sensor, and the HDR pipeline helped preserve highlights from street lights. That said, the drone still relies on sufficient ambient light to lock onto its position, so you'll need a bit of moonlight or city glow to get the best results. If you're planning pure moonlit shots, you might still need supplemental lighting or accept a softer image. Now, let's talk about the downsides that matter after the purchase. The most obvious one is price. This isn't a $500 hobbyist model, you're looking at a premium investment that expects you to extract professional-grade content from it. For a weekend hobbyist who only wants occasional family videos, the cost can feel unjustified. The advanced camera system also means you'll have to spend time learning the DJI Fly app's more intricate settings: ISO, shutter speed, color profiles to truly leverage the 6K HDR potential. That learning curve can be a barrier for newcomers who just want to point and shoot. Another practical consideration is regulatory.